So in January, we're typically starting to watch for the arrival of lambs. Most of these ewes went in with a ram the middle of August. And for most sheep, at least in our flock, the gestation is about 147 days. So it's almost pretty exact in that respect. If I see them being bred, I can count out 147 days, and those lambs will probably be born within that day. It's amazing, I think, that it can be so scheduled like that. We didn't necessarily see any of the rams breeding these ewes this year. We didn't use what's called a marking harness, which enables us to know when they were bred. So we're kind of playing a little bit of a game here to see who's going to go first. And the things we look for there are udders, where they're producing milk for the lambs. Also, they start to have their own kind of specific maternity behavior, just like maybe human moms who are in that last month. They go off by themselves. They really just want to rest. They're not necessarily joining the flock. We watch them. They start to paw the ground as they're looking for a place to rest. So once we start seeing some of those signs, like pawing the ground, getting up and getting down, sometimes there's grunting, we know labor is starting. And so what happens after that is we give them their own special private birthing room. We move them over to another part of the barn, and we put them in what's called a lambing jug. And it's just a small pen where they can be by themselves. And after the lambs are born, and the lambs can bond and nurse from their mother, and they can also not be trampled by the larger flock. Lambs get up typically and move around within 15 or 20 minutes of birth. They're nursing, they're walking, but they're still a bit unsteady. And so to have them in a space set aside from the rest of the flock, we won't have to worry about them being stepped on. The lambing toolkit, we have a scale and a sling. So we put the newborn lamb in here. Their front feet go through here, and then we quickly weigh them. And every shepherd you talk to has different things and things they do and don't do. We have some vitamins there, just kind of early strength. It's really almost like sugar, and it has some fat and some extra vitamins in there. And then we also have a bottle in case we need to nurse a lamb that's not getting on to the mom early enough. So if for some reason the ewe is weak and is not able to nurse, we're going to increase the chances of survival of her lambs by providing her with either some colostrum or some milk, especially in those cold nights where we just need to get something in their tummy. So if it's really, really bitter cold, we have that heating lamp there, that orange lamp that we set up. Typically, it has to be really bitter cold for us to use that in the beginning, and that's going to just give those lambs at the first few hours of life a little bit more warmth. Their body temperature is 102 degrees normally, so they're burning. They're much warmer than we are. They have this great insulating fleece, and then they're also ruminants, which means they are, digesting cud all the time, and those to me are almost like little furnace systems in their stomach. So it can be very cold outside, and you can come down into this barn and the water's not frozen, and they're resting comfortably chewing cud. So for me, the challenge is keeping them cool in the summer much more than keeping them warm in the winter. That's for sure.